Hi friends, I'm Kate with the therapy department here at Progress Center, and my goal today is to give you hopefully some new and fun ideas of ways to use things around the house to keep your kiddo entertained, learning, and growing. Today we're going to talk about blankets. If you're like me, you probably have a ton of throw blankets around your house. Towels will work as well, sheets, etc. Even a yoga mat can work for what I'm going to talk about today. The first thing you want to consider when picking a blanket, sheet, towel, etc. is some of the properties of it based on what you're using it for. Think about color. If you're trying to do a calming activity, you'll want to use a darker color, like a cool color like blues and greens, grays, etc. You also might want to go for a blanket or a towel that is one color versus a crazy pattern. If your goal is to do something more kind of fun and active, like a tug of war game or a parachute, you can go for something a little more crazy patterned or bright colored. It just kind of depends on what you're using it for. Also, you'll want to consider whether or not your blanket or towel or whatever has little nubby things on it like this one. Zippers, buttons, things like that, those can be irritating to a lot of kids, and it can kind of take away from the goal of the activity. All right, now I'm going to go through a few different ways to use these items. The first one would be kind of what I'm doing right now on the floor with this blanket here. It's using a blanket as sort of a barrier. So think about now that the weather's getting sunnier, when you go to the beach, is the sand going to bother your kid? You might want to pick a blanket that's like a thicker material so that the sand doesn't poke through or the grass doesn't poke through. It's also a great way to start introducing your kiddos to surfaces that might be irritating to them, like sand or grass, which is really common. And you can slowly sort of inch your way off of the blanket and get used to it in a safe way and a less irritating way. Secondly, using a blanket as sort of what we would call a visual cue. So you're looking at it and it's giving you an idea of where the expectation is for play. You probably have done this with your teachers or your therapists back when we were doing home visits. They'll often put a blanket down so that visually your child knows, okay, I can run off and take a break, but then I want to come back, and the expectation is this is where we play and we pay more attention when we're done with our break. The third use for a blanket would be for the almighty deep pressure touch. You've probably heard this from your providers. Deep pressure touch, generally speaking, has a calming effect on our sensory systems and is a great thing to incorporate throughout the day with your child to help them stay what we would call regulated, meaning just sort of zen, calm, cool, collected, living their best life, all of that. So you can use a blanket for deep pressure touch by doing swaddling games. Think about rolling them up like a burrito or pretending they're a pizza, rolling them up and rolling the dough, kneading the dough, those kinds of games. Think of ways to make it fun, right? Because if it's not fun, kids aren't going to do it, right? Next, we're going to say blankets are great for what we would call a sensory retreat or just like a good old-fashioned fort. So that's pretty self-explanatory, right? You put it over a chair, or over a small table or whatever, and gives your kiddo a little place to go and calm down and be in a cool, calmer environment, especially right now when at home can get a little chaotic, or maybe after being outside in the sunshine all day, it would be a great place to come into and have a little sensory retreat place to sort of regroup and calm down. In that case especially, I would recommend a blanket, sheet, or towel that is a cool color, right? So something that, think about how much light is coming in, and when it filters in, what color is that? So I like blues and greens and purples for that. Last but certainly not least is using blankets, towels, or sheets, or yoga mats, for heavy work play or resistance play. Heavy work also can have a calming effect when used in the right way, right? Just like anything else, we don't want too much of it in our day. But a blanket's a really quick way to get those muscles pumping and pushing in through those joints, pushing, pulling, lifting, anything like that. Whoops, our light's out. Can we make it come back? Oh, okay, I guess I'm in the dark now. We'll just keep going. Heavy work with a blanket. Here are some examples. Yes, Kristen's going to try to activate the light for us. Luckily, we have this window here. So you can use a blanket for something like tug of war with a child. I particularly like sitting and holding a blanket and rocking back and forth because we're getting that core in and you're using your own body weight for resistance. I'm also a fan of the fishing for children game. So you're gonna catch a fish, or your child can be the fisherman or fisherwoman. These are really easy games to play with older siblings as well. So put them to work. It actually benefits everyone's sensory system to play these kinds of games anyways. Rolling in and out, particularly with a yoga mat, it's really fun because it does have that firmness to it, to have your child lay down and then help them roll into the mat, and then have them roll their body out. They can put their arms in or up above their head even and roll around, and you get a whole body workout. It kind of works all areas. Let's see, I'm missing one. Oh, parachute, the almighty parachute game. So this is good if you have siblings at home as well, right? And you are going to want to think about the height differential. So if a child is standing, you might want to be up on your knees. Everyone holds with two hands, up and down. You can bounce a favorite stuffed animal or a soft ball, no hard toys, please. You can practice different rhythms, right? And go really, really fast and really, really slow and big up and down. So you're really working on language skills, motor skills, and you're feeding that sensory system, which I'm all about. Anyways, I know this is a lot of information for y'all. Feel free to watch this video over and over again and pause it on ideas that you like. And above all else, have fun. If it isn't fun, who wants to do it?